Well,
South African President Jacob Zuma has left the country after a 3-day state visit to Zambia. President Zuma, who left the country at about 1820 hours, was seen off by President Rupiah Banda, First Lady Tandiwe, defense chiefs, cabinet ministers and MMD cadres. Prior to his departure, President Zuma was honored with a 21-gun salute mounted by the Zambia Army. Mr. Zuma also inspected a guard of honor. And the two presidents have welcomed international efforts to address the global financial crisis which adversely affected developing countries. This is according to a communique read on behalf of the two presidents by Foreign Affairs Minister Kavinga Pande and his South African counterpart Ms. Maite Nkoana Matabane at the airport. President Rupiah Banda and his South African counterpart Jacob Zuma have assured the private sector that both governments will facilitate increased trade and investment to deepening economic partnerships between the two nations. President Banda says the Zambian government is currently conducting a private sector reform program aimed at reducing the cost of doing business. President Banda said this in Lusaka yesterday at a business dinner hosted for the business delegation that accompanied President Jacob Zuma on his 3-day state visit to Zambia.
Zambia imports more than it exports to the Republic of South Africa, resulting in a negative trade balance for Zambia. For example, in 2006 and 2007, Zambia's negative trade balances stood at United States $1 billion and United States $1.3 billion respectively. I therefore challenge the private sector present here to take advantage of this opportunity and establish business undertakings in Zambia to manufacture some of Zambia's current major imports such as electrical and electronics products, machinery, iron sheeting, plastics, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a huge unexploited investment potential in Zambia, and more especially in the agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing, energy, financial, and information communication technology sector.
The key imperative involves seeking enhanced access to global markets for our exports, for investment, technology, and finance that is essential for the access of our growth and development strategy. Our approach should be twofold. We need to enhance our access to the major sources of investment and finance in the North, but our efforts need to be supplemented by deepening linkages between ourselves and among the countries of the South. We need to replicate the experience of highly developed countries in the post-1995 period, where global economic growth was driven by increased trade and investment flows within the countries of the North.
We take our first commercial break, and after that, Zambia receives financial support in the fight against corruption. And we also have our business colleagues with some business news. Stay with us.